How you doing, everyone? Welcome to this episode of the Cajun Conservative Show, where we talk about life, we talk about liberty, and yes, I talk about the pursuit of happiness. I show the world also that Cajuns do have intelligence. Man, I don't know about you. I'm just gonna state the fact here. I don't know about you. If you went to church or you didn't go to church, but you should have been in church, especially if you're a Bible believing, Holy Ghost filled Christian. Man, I had some church this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Church Sunday morning was off the chain. I'm trying to get some lingo of the young children. I'm a youth pastor, of course, so do y'all say things like that now? I'm just saying. I have producer Hezekiah here. That is off today. His hands right here. Do y'all say that now? Off the chain? No. Yeah, that must have been from my day. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited. They just say that's crazy. So church wasn't crazy. It was just awesome this morning. And I'm excited. I am blessed and highly favored, beyond all compare. I'm getting tongue-tied here. Got the sugar from the coffee inside of me, and I'm ready for this episode to kick off, where I see some hypocrisy, as I normally do, and I go ahead and I explain it to you, the audience, of what hypocrisy I have seen, and some things I'm just observing this week. And some things are coming up, ladies and gentlemen. After the election, I'm planning on making a few announcements about the show. And but election night, that's one big announcement I can mention right now. On election night, if you're a faithful listener of the Cajun Conservative Show and you live in Louisiana, this is especially for you guys. We will have a special election coverage segment here on the show. It will not be on the audio side. It will be on the podcast, on the YouTube side, Rumble side, hopefully, and also on Facebook. There's a way that I can get all three platforms on there, so we're trying to get it. But we will have special guests. We confirm Mr. William Wallace will be here from William Wallace in America. Our friend Kelby Daigle is probably going to come by and spend some time with us. We also have some elected officials that are going to call into the show. But for 3 hours, from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., we will be talking elections. And this ain't a national election, so I'm hoping by 10 o'clock we can make all the calls and we could talk about our new governor, if we have one. We're for sure going to know who's lieutenant governor, because there's only two. Well, there's more people in the race, but there's only two big names in there, Mr. Albert Guillory and and our current lieutenant governor, Billy Nuncaster. But we're going to have a fun night on October 14th, starting at 7 o'clock, ending around 10 o'clock. We will be here in the studio unless something else happens. We will have to wait and see. Hey, can you go ahead and message Brother Danny for me? Let him know that we're not there. So anyway, see, y'all know this is live, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling producer Hezekiah to do things. On a different note, let's go ahead and talk about one of our good friends, Give-A-Derm, the company that is a great skincare product company. All natural, it's a woman-led company and conservative, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I would not endorse a product that I have not tried on my own. And thanks to Give-A-Derm for sending us some samples. Me and my wife went ahead and tried some of these products out. We told someone about it today. Their lotions made the hands real soft, good for the hands. We used their facials. We used their soaps, and it made our skin feel a lot better, ladies and gentlemen. Now you might be saying, Isaac, why this is a promotion. Why should we go get this? Because at Give-A-Derm, they go ahead and make quality products. You should go ahead and check them out. You should check them out on the link at the bottom. If you do that, go ahead and use the promo code when you're about to buy your product. BGS Media 10. You get 10% off your products. Go into the link giveaderm.com, and in the description we have the link to our to the store, and go ahead and use that promo code BGS Media 10, and you get 10% off your products. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's start talking about some things that are happening in the Democrat Party. I'm just surprised on a few things, because it's funny when the Democrats want to use somebody, they don't go ahead and criticize them whatsoever. The Democrat, if you're useful to the Democrat Party, they will defend you tooth and nail. But when the Democrat Party thinks that you are not useful no more, they will turn their back on you. no matter what. Now, I'm going to say this: if you're in a foxhole, this ain't my thinking. This comes from the great voice of Louisiana, Moon Griffon. He says it the best way. If you're in a foxhole and you had the choice to fight with a Democrat or a Republican, who do you choose? Well, you fight with a Democrat because they fight tooth and nail for you, no matter what you do wrong. They're going to go ahead and fight for you, except on rare occasions like we're seeing right now. What am I talking about? Well, a Democrat that is a senator in, I believe, the great state of New Jersey. Well, is it a Southern District of New York? Democrat, New Jersey, Senator Bob Menendez. That's how you say his name, Menendez. I said it earlier. I can't say it now. Menendez. Anyway, this senator from New Jersey has been indicted. This is not the first indictment. This is the second indictment that he has been presented with. It is for 3 counts, I believe, of bribery, and it is, if you read the articles, it is concerning bribes that he got from Arabia and Egypt, because in his position he could do certain things. Catching this, ladies and gentlemen, he Egypt or whoever it was asked him to do certain things because he was a senator, and he got paid for it. This is why he's indicted. The unsealed indictment alleged that from at least 2018 to 2020, the senator and his wife engaged in corrupt relationships with Delba Will Annas and Jose Obrin. The couple is accused of accepting hundreds of thousands of dollars of bribes in exchange for using the senator's power and influence as a senator to seek protection and enrich Hana and Urab and Delhi and to benefit the Arab Republic of Egypt. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's think about this. This man is accused of taking bribes from foreign countries to benefit them and to benefit the senator in his position. Now, this is where the hypocrisy is going to play into effect. And I studying this, when I was looking at this and studying this, I was wondering how I could present this story. And I caught a news article that says that pressure mounts, and this is from the Daily Wire, pressure mounts for Democrat senator to resign from office over corruption charges. Now, a lot of senators that are Democrat have asked this senator from New Jersey, Bob Merzani, to resign. Representative Dan Phillips, Democrat of Minnesota, called on Manzini to resign during a CNN interview, saying that Democrat leaders needed to push him out for corruption, taking money from another country and benefiting himself by doing that. This bribery. We had other Democrats come on and talk about him. MSNBC Lawrence O'Donnell also called on Manzini to resign. This is the media. The media has called on this Democrat. Every Democrat senator who demanded Al Franken's resignation must demand Senator Menendez resignation today, so New York Democrat governor can appoint his replacement, O'Donnell wrote, who will be the first. Senator Grablin stated the statement against Senator Franken, what she waiting for. This article has a lot. Now, there is a Democrat that decided to run against him. There was nobody running against him. Now there's a Democrat congressman announced plans to challenge the indicted senator for running. Now, ladies and gentlemen, did you just catch all this? We have Democrat senators calling on this senator to resign because of corruption, because of bribery, because this is just evil. Now, we know why they're doing this. There's 2 reasons why they're doing this. One, they know that there's a senator that's a Democrat that will put another senator in their place, so not worrying about their power. So they know they're gonna have another Democrat senator in that place in New Jersey. But ladies and gentlemen, I said there's 2. I did probably really 1. So they're not worried about this. So, but they're calling on this. They're calling on this corruption. Just think about this. They're calling on the corruption of this senator and they say it's evil. It's wrong. He shouldn't have took bribes. He shouldn't have did anything like this. Even John Featherman, you know, the dressed down senator, the senator that wants to go meet world leaders in a shirt and some shorts with some sneakers and makes the country look bad, even called on this senator from New Jersey to resign because of corruption. It's evil to them. It's wrong. But ladies and gentlemen, and John Featherman has said, and other senators have said, there's just too much proof to show that he did wrong and that they need to get him out of the way. He needs to resign and not run. I'm waiting. Okay, so okay, and look, they're just. If this is right, now look, this guy's indicted, don't mean he's guilty. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm not hearing nobody in the media talk about it. The media is calling for him to resign. I read this earlier from MSNBC. But ladies and gentlemen, why don't the Democrats push that hard to get President Joe Biden out the way? Oh, that's totally different. Wait a minute. Let's compare to Senator Bob Manzini and compare to Joe Biden. Manzini, the senator of New Jersey, is accused of taking bribes from other countries to benefit himself and his family. What has Biden has done since he's been a senator and he's been vice president, now president of the United States? It has been proven through whistleblowers and has been proven through other sources that Biden and his family took money from Ukraine, from other countries, China, every other country. They have taken money and it has benefited them to shift their political views. Why ain't the Democrats calling on Biden to resign, but they're calling on this senator to resign? Wait, Isaac, hold on. That's too. It's not that simple. Yes, it's that simple. What this senator has been indicted for, done the same thing the Bidens have done for years. Now, I don't know if this is just a Democratic trend where Democrats go ahead and they say, well, we're in power. We get to influence people. Let's see who we can influence and get paid for it. Ladies and gentlemen, I've already known the Democrat Party's leadership, senators, congresspeople. And look, don't get me wrong, there is some Republicans too that have been indicted. I'm not going to go ahead and say, oh, the halo is on the Republican Party and the horns is on the Democrat Party. These two are both of the same coin, just a different side. So I'm not going to go ahead and sit here to say that the Republican Party is all glorious and the Republican Party isn't squeaky clean. But at the same time, you have a senator that's been indicted for taking funds from foreign countries and to have influence on other people, so whoever he was getting the money from can benefit from, and him and his wife, according to this indictment, have benefited from that. But no Democrats are calling for Biden's resignation, which there is proof. Now, look, I've said that Biden has not been indicted. Hunter Biden has been indicted on a totally different subject. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is hypocrisy at its finest. We have whistleblowers. Because remember, let's go by John Featherman, because every Democrat wants to defend John Featherman. John Featherman was one of them that said, listen, there's so much proof that this man did this horrible act. Let's get rid of him. Let's get rid of him. See, look, like I said, I remember my second point from earlier. They want to get rid of him because they know a Democrat governor is going to put in another Democrat. But also, this man ain't useful no more to the Democrat Party. Think about it. This Democrat is not useful to the Democrat Party. So, hey, let's just get rid of him. That's how it's looking, in my opinion. But ladies and gentlemen, they're calling all. This is horrible that a senator was indicted for taking bribery, where you have the president of the United States on a stage said to a country, which is Ukraine, listen, if you want your billion-some dollars, fire the prosecutor that is looking into my son. Well, SOB, I'm not going to say the whole language because of immature ears. But this guy was on stage, says, well, SOB, they fired the prosecutor. The whole reason Biden wanted that prosecutor fired was because they were going after his son. His son worked for Burisma, and they were taking money from Ukraine. Ladies and gentlemen, Biden did the same thing, but we don't have one single Democrat standing up and saying, with all this evidence, man, it's overwhelming. We have to impeach Biden. No, they're running around saying there's no evidence. There's no evidence of corruption in the Biden administration, which is a hunk of baloney. But ladies and gentlemen, they're quick. They're so quick to jump on this senator. Now, was it right that this senator was indicted for crimes? Absolutely. I'm not going to go ahead and sugarcoat that. They should indict him. He should get a fair trial. And if he's proven guilty, he should be shipped off to pay for the actions of his crimes. But don't you see the hypocrisy? And look, this is why I don't understand people on the left. They're so quick to jump on the bandwagon to get a senator out of the way and to say, oh, he needs to resign because the crimes and the evidence is so overwhelming. When you have overwhelming evidence that the president of the United States, when he was the vice president, did the exact same thing as him and possibly were doing it when he got into office. Oh no, not old Uncle Joe, not plugs. Honest as the day is old. He's probably the second most honorable president to Abraham Lincoln. If I made you choke, I'm sorry, folks. Kai, you didn't choke right there. I hope not. Okay, okay. We got to get him some water in the break. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Biden, there's no evidence. Well, how come you didn't have a trial yet for this senator, and you believe there's all this evidence, but there's no evidence for poor old Uncle Joe? Ladies and gentlemen, Joe is still useful. That's why they're not going after Uncle Joe. That's why they're not going after Joe Biden, because he's still useful somewhat. They can still tell Joe with his dementia, Joe, go ahead and sign that bill that benefits us, and we'll protect you. But ladies and gentlemen, this senator apparently don't have nothing to offer the Democrat Party. And this is why they're so quick to get rid of him. But it's hypocrisy at its finest. That's a crime. You need to go, Uncle Joe. There's 20,000 whistleblowers that come out and say that Joe did something wrong. But we're not going to believe them because he's the president of the United States. And ladies and gentlemen, it is sad that we live in a country where it's just ain't a tutorial justice system with the Republicans and the Democrats, but it's even a tutorial justice system with some Democrats that are not useful to the party and the cause no more. And it's sad. I just wanted to bring that up. I didn't hear nobody talk about the hypocrisy on this, but it's just funny how they quick. I'm going to hit that point home. It's quick for them to jump on this senator who probably did wrong. But there's the same amount of evidence that show Uncle Joe did the same thing. And they're like, nope, there's no evidence. As VeggieTales said it best on Sherlock Holmes, move along, nothing to see here on this case. But this case, yeah, we can judge because we got to put another Democrat senator. We're not going to lose our power. But also, he's not useful. So let's get rid of him. Sad, folks. Sad. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and take our first break. We'll be right back in a few moments. So stay tuned.
That the four things that I think are most important is to be tough on hardened criminals. The criminal justice system, you got to help out people. And I did this for years and years and years as a prosecutor. Probably 80 to 85% of the people that came through the DA's office and through my prosecution experience, they got help to get back on track. About 15% were just hardened criminals that didn't deserve to be helped. They needed to go somewhere where they could not be a danger to you and I. And so we took care of putting those people in that place. I will fight for victims' rights. I've been a vice president of Crime Fighters, the largest victims group in the state, and dealt with victims all across the state and helped them navigate the criminal justice system and soothe their broken and aching hearts from their losses. And so I would continue to do that. I'd promote the early intervention program, and I would always, always, always be pro-life, pro-gun, and pro-Louisiana and fight for all your constitutional rights. So if you want somebody like me that has a tough on crime background, I think you would be well suited to join our team, and I would be honored to have your vote on October 14th.
This message is authorized by the campaign to elect Marty Maley Attorney General.
Cleansed and made us whole. Not one hoof, not one soul.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the second segment of the Cajun Conservative Show today. I forgot in the first segment, we will have John Stefanski on the show. He is representative, I think, of District 43, but he is running for Attorney General. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, he is running for Attorney General. And I met John the other day, and as I do with almost every politician, for sure Republican politician, I asked him, hey, you want to come onto the show? And he was like, absolutely. When do you want me? And we set up the date, and he's going to be on the third segment of this show. So stay tuned for that. Getting a lot of interviews right now. And as we get closer to the election, we're trying to get some local, some statewide. If anybody knows Donald Trump out there, tell him about the Cajun Conservative Show. On that note, you should go ahead and check out the Cajun Conservative merchandise on BGS Media Store. If you go ahead and look at the bottom in the description, we have a link to that store, and we got some great t-shirts. I'm wearing one right now. It has Brothers Just Searching on the back, but we're planning on making some that say the Cajun Conservative. We have some Cajun Conservative shirts that you can buy. We have some mugs. We have some good merch, ladies and gentlemen, here at BGS Media, and we're hoping one day that we can do this full time, and that's how you could help. If you want to go ahead and pick up a t-shirt or a hat or something, it would help us out tremendously. So go ahead and check it out in the BGS Media Store, and also share this episode with people, ladies and gentlemen. That helps out more than you know. A lot of people just watch and they're like, hey, that's a good episode. I need you to help me. I need you to help BGS Media. Go ahead and share with your friends. Put it on social media. Put it on Twitter. Put it on Facebook. Put it on True Social. And or even text it out to a friend. If you know a friend that likes politics, go ahead and tell them to check out this podcast. I promise you they will not be disappointed. I get a lot of people that tell me that, look, we love your show. Great. Let's keep getting that audience growing, because I know there's a lot more people that will love this podcast only if they only got a chance to listen to it. All right, let's move on to a couple of things last week that I didn't get to. I was planning on it, and the second segment went long, and we had our special guest last week. And I really want to talk about this. I want to talk about Russell Brand a little bit, because YouTube demonetized Russell Brand over sexual assault accusations. He creates, they quote, he's harmful off-platform behavior. Now, this has not been proven that Russell Brand did anything. They did not. There's no evidence. Not just a sexual assault accusation against him. So, and ladies and gentlemen, look, we should take these things serious. I'm not going to go ahead and sit here and say we shouldn't take a sexual assault claim, just throw it off our back and say, well, you know what, because it's a conservative, we should go ahead and just get rid of it. On the same time, though, I don't think it's right that YouTube has demonetized Russell Brand just because a woman came out and said, hey, he did something to me. Now, if he goes to court and it's been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that it happened, yes, then you can go ahead and make them statements. Now, Russell Brand is an actor, well, a former actor. He's a comedian, and he is a right-wing activist. He goes ahead and he exposes things. There is something on YouTube. I was on YouTube. I don't know about now, but he was on a TV show, and he started quoting off a lot of things about COVID-19. That's when a lot of people said this stuff has happened. Now, there is a lot of things going around this as well. England, the UK Parliament asked Rumble to demonetize Russell Brand. Thank goodness Rumble hasn't done that. Now, Rumble is one of the only free speech platforms out there. Also, they have... because of that decision that Rumble said, look, we're not going to pull him, I heard Burger King and other companies have pulled their advertisement from Rumble. Now, I don't have no stake in Rumble except that I have a channel on there. But I know Dan Bongino and other folks have a stake in Rumble, and they don't need them. They don't need BK. They don't need other woke companies trying to influence Rumble to do things. Look, Rumble is a private company, same as YouTube. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say YouTube shouldn't demonetize him, but I don't think they should have, because this goes on a point of, oh, Isaac, but there's a sexual assault charge on him. Doesn't mean he did it. Now he has to go to court, and he has to go ahead, and the prosecutor has to prove he did something wrong. Because I'm going to tell you I'm going to tell you an example of people jumping on a bandwagon, and it proved that the woman was lying. Johnny Depp and I can't think of his wife. Do some research for me. And her name's at the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it. I know probably half my audience is probably like, oh my goodness, Isaac, it's this. You starting up something on my computer. Amber Heard. So, Amber Heard, right. So it's Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Let me get this out of here. Making me go. All right. But Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, that is a perfect example of you believing something that you should have waited for all the evidence to happen on. Johnny Depp, and look, there's going back to trial and everything like that, but Johnny Depp said he didn't do nothing. Amber Heard was like, oh yeah, he did everything to me. Disney fired him. Johnny Depp couldn't get a job. When the trial came out, it was proven that Amber Heard did most of the abusing part of it. Amber Heard was shamed. Amber Heard was proven to be the one that was antagonizing Johnny Depp. But if you remember, Disney and everybody was saying, oh, we need to get rid of him because he went ahead and did something wrong. So, ladies and gentlemen, you got to be careful what you hear and what you believe. So on the Russell Brand issue, we should go ahead and wait. Now, does his politics play a role in what's going on? Possibly. You kind of wonder the timing of everything, when how Russell Brand comes against things with COVID-19, and all of a sudden a sexual assault claim comes up. Same thing with Brett Kavanaugh, Clarence Thomas, and it's funny how conservatives, when conservatives start spreading out their wings, there's something like this happens to tarnish their reputation. So we're gonna have to wait and see. Like I said, now in full honesty, I don't listen to Russell Brand. I've tried already, and I don't know. It's just something, I don't know. All right, so breaking a couple of days ago, Ralph Murdoch retiring will hand media empire over to son. Lechlan report says, this comes from the Daily Wire. Fox News founder Ralph Murdoch started Fox News, and he asked, I'm trying to think of the guy's name that ran Fox News for a long time. He was proven to have sexual assaults and all that stuff. I just can't think of his name right off the bat. But when that happens, he took over Fox News. Now he's retiring. I want to see what happens with Fox News with this move, because the purpose, the reason I'm saying that, because Fox has already been going left, and Murdoch's sons have been pushing more to the left. They've been pushing the narratives of taking out Tucker Carlson and stopping the radical main right view at Fox News. Now that his son's gonna be taking over as CEO, I want to see how Fox News go. Because look, you got Gunther, you still got Sean Hannity, you got Jesse Waters, who's a rising star at Fox, Laura Ingraham. These are all right-leaning people, very extreme right-leaning people. And I love listening to Jesse Waters. He's not as good as Tucker, but it's going to be a long time before Fox News pick up anybody like Tucker, if they ever do again, because I don't think they're going to go that hardcore right no more. And I just hope they stay towards the right. Now, we know that, and this is sad that this is happening, but what they say and what they do is totally different things. Fox will tell their pundits, go ahead and lean more to the right because that's our audience, but we're going to support left-leaning stuff on the side. It has been broken by Matt Walsh. We have talked about it on this show. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to I just want to see where Fox News goes right here. Now, on that point, I do use Fox News' app. I do pick up stories from Fox News, but I don't watch Fox News that much. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the age we're living in right now. I got Hulu, where that's my main source of watching Fox News if I do watch it, or watching sports. Today at church, we were using it to watch the Saints. Ladies and gentlemen, it's just you would have to, I don't hinge on everything Fox News says no more. Now, like I said, I use their app. I rather use their app than anything because I find more stories. But ladies and gentlemen, I don't hinge on everything Fox News says, so I don't watch Fox News like I used to. So, but I just want to see if we start hearing what's going on in the coming weeks. All right, federal judge rules Christian teachers can't be forced to lie to parents about kids' gender confessions. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Now, these are two stories. I got another story I want to talk about this because there's an update to that rule in California where they could take kids away. But let's talk about this. A federal judge has ruled in favor of 2 Christian teachers who refused to uphold their school policy that required staff to lie to parents and hold students' gender confusion. U.S. District Judge Roger Brazil issued a preliminary injunction that protect 2 Christian middle school teachers who challenged San Diego County's Escondido Uniform School District (USD) policy. The teachers argued that the secret policy infringed on their First Amendment free speech and free speech exercise of their religious right, and if they were to comply to be dishonest with parents, it would violate their sincerely held religious beliefs. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why we have a First Amendment. And this is why the women won this case. These teachers won this case. Because the First Amendment says you have a freedom of speech and you have a freedom of religion. That is both in that. Those two arguments are both in the Constitution. Now, you might ask, well, what about the kids' constitutional rights? They have them. But ladies and gentlemen, you're not a legal adult until you're 18 years old. So the well-being of those parents of the kids are to the parents. And if a kid comes into school and his name is Johnny and he wants to be Gloria, and the teacher has a right to say, well, I'm going to say it or not, but if the teacher says, hey, your little boy is saying he's Jennifer and he's Gloria, and not Johnny, well, the parents should know about that. That's a major deal, according to the left, because the left says, well, we have to make sure we help the parents, and we have to make sure that the parents know the well-being of their children, unless their children is saying they're of another gender and the parents are against it. So now we got to leave that to the state and the school. So I'm glad that this judge ruled in the favor of these 2 teachers, because these 2 teachers had the right to call the parents and say, hey, you need to go ahead. Now the state was telling them, no, you can't do that. You got to go ahead and shut up. You can't talk about that. That's wrong. You can't say that to the kids. And look, this is probably going to go to the Supreme Court, because they're going to be some left-wing nut say, well, that's not right. Let's go ahead and sue them to the Supreme Court. And they're going to lose, because these teachers have a First Amendment right and also a right to religion. So, ladies and gentlemen, look, props to the judge that made sure that was done right. That was a right call on that. Now, let's continue on with California, the state that gets weirder and weirder every year. But me and Gavin Newsom finally agree on something, ladies and gentlemen. I'm surprised. Now, this is from the Daily Wire, and like I said, I'm surprised at this. Gavin Newsom vetoes bill allowing judge to consider whether a parent affirms child gender identity during custody disputes. You remember where I came a couple of weeks ago and I said that the legislation in California is where if a parent they had a custody issue, the parents, if the state saw that maybe there was abuse or whatever, give it to the state, or even to parents, that if a parent says, hey, Johnny is Johnny, not Gloria, The judge can say, well, hold on, man. That person is saying that little Johnny isn't little John, is little Johnny, but he's not Gloria. No, he thinks he's Gloria. So we're gonna go ahead and give him to the parent that affirms his gender. Or if the state would say, well, this is abusive home because they don't call Johnny Gloria, we could take it, or we could take that child away. And like I said, I'm surprised. I even mentioned on the show, I thought Gavin Newsom would go ahead and approve this bill, but he didn't. In a surprising move, Gavin Newsom, Democrat California, vetoed the bill that would have allowed judges to consider where parents affirming a child's gender identity amongst the factor during custody battles. In his veto message, Newsom said that the bill might be used to limit the civil rights of vulnerable minors, saying that the judge in California were already supposed to look at parental affirming during defamations of child safety. The bill has drawn backlash from advocates who said that the parents could lose custody of their child if they don't agree with the child's claim to be a transgender. So, ladies and gentlemen, now look, he says the state has that already. I don't know. I don't live in California, thank the Lord. But hey, a broken clock is right twice a day. And look, that's rare for Gavin Newsom to be right once a day. But props to where props due. See, ladies and gentlemen, I just don't criticize the Democrats. I give them credit when credit is due. But it's rare. It's rare. All right, so one more segment before we start talking with our guest, John Stefanski, a candidate for Attorney General. Ladies and gentlemen, look, I have 3 young children. And this is hard for me, I guess. They love Paw Patrol. Paw Patrol is one of their favorite shows, but unfortunately, I have to make a decision, and I'm probably going to tell my kids you cannot watch Paw Patrol no more. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the popular kids cartoon Paw Patrol, this is from the Daily Wire, introduced a new non-binary character, one of his spin-off show, Rubble and Crew. In a recent episode of the Nickelodeon series called The Crew Builds a Obstructory, the English Bulldog welcomes a so-called non-binary character named River into the mix. So it's talking about them building this bridge or whatever it is, and they don't necessarily talk about the non-binary character in the show, but the LGBTQ activist Lindsay Amar, who runs a YouTube channel, the Queer Kids Stuff, describes more details about Rivers inclusive in an Instagram post. They brought me on to consult on the first non-binary character, Meet River, for PP Universe, and write their episode. Talk about a bucket item Amar wrote. The content creator also discussed the subtle messaging with Rivers, including shoes fitting the trans flag colors. So, ladies and gentlemen, when a left-leaning person says, we're not trying to indoctrinate the children, you have a woman that has a YouTube channel called Queer Kids Stuff, where this woman, according to Matt Walsh, and I've seen the video, is reading a book. What is an abortion anyway? It's a children's book, and it is saying all the good things about abortion, but not how it's killing life in the womb. You think the left ain't trying to indoctrinate our children? Now, I started thinking about this, and I heard Matt Walsh. I don't agree everything with Matt Walsh on this stance, but I'm starting to see his point on something. Ladies and gentlemen, when I grew up, I didn't watch Nickelodeon. I watched some shows. Some shows are on, and I watched, but we didn't have cable TV growing up. And a lot of people say, well, you was sheltered. Well, glad I was. Because you know what I watch? I watch old TV shows called The Story Keepers, where it was a group of Christians fleeing persecution from Rome. Isaac, that sounds violent. No, there was no violence in there. But at the same time, it showed what Christians went through in Rome, and the reason they were called The Story Keepers, because they were telling the story of Jesus, and it grew the kids' faith. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduced my children to that show on PureFlix. Now, I don't have an affiliated I don't have affiliated contact with PureFlix, who is now the Great American PureFlix, but I'm happy PureFlix put that on. My children love a show called McGee and Me, which is very kid friendly, but gives biblical messages. One example, me and my kids were watching some the other day. Yes, I'm a big kid. I still watch kids movies. I was watching one the other day, and it was talking about the main character disobeying his parents and going watch a movie that was violent and that was not appropriate for him to watch. And the parents made a statement in that show. They said, look, we were trying to protect you. Your mind, it receives information. And if you receive garbage in, it produces garbage out. So if you watch corrupt filming, or you let your kids watch things. Now, this is an advocate for you to show your kids. You're a parent, you can make a decision. But ladies and gentlemen, kids are a sponge. And they soak up information. And if you have kids watching this show being led by a queer, and I'm quoting her channel, Queer Kids Stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, it's what they're trying to do. What they're trying to do at Nickelodeon. They're trying to indoctrinate your children to believe. They're trying to feed them information to show that this lifestyle is right and normal. Which I've said on this show plenty of times, it's not. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I'm at a point as a parent. Do I let my children watch stuff that does not give them no education, does not give them any encouragement, or I start letting them watch children's movies that are based on the Bible? You know what the sad point is? This will be my last point on this right here. It's sad that I have to go to shows that I used to watch. Where are the content creators, the kids content creators that are doing this now? And see, back then, children, look, Bill Gunner, U.S. Marshall, the Salty, the Singing Songbook, the Story Keepers, McGee and Me, Kobe's Clubhouse. This is all Christian programming, but this was good, clean content, and it showed kids to live the right way. But what about all the other kids shows that didn't have a political agenda? Now, there's some out there. They are. But ladies and gentlemen, like Blimpy. I watch Blimpy. I lose an IQ of 20 every time I see Blimpy. And I'm not against Blimpy. Blimpy, to my knowledge, has not supported the LGBTQ or any other socialistic woke agenda. But there's some questions about the content creator of Blimpy. And ladies and gentlemen, this woman right here, Nickelodeon reached out to her. And look, I said this one more point, but I got to say this, and then we're going to get to this is a long second segment. I really want to push this home. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a woman on YouTube called Queer Kids Stuff, where she's reading children books about what is abortion and pushing information to these children. Let me be a Christian content creator, which I am. And I read children's books about the gospel. I probably would not get pushed. I would probably not get known. Look, I'm gonna be honest. That's why I asked for you to share and to like and to tell people about the show, because I have a tougher time as a Christian and a conservative to get my content out there. Ladies and gentlemen, the YouTube, and we're on that platform. I love YouTube, but they're pushing this agenda as well. It is not right. It is wrong, because you should be fair to everybody. But I would like to challenge YouTube, and I know they're not going to take this challenge seriously. But why push that? Why push that type of content when you have so much other good content out there for kids to watch? And ladies and gentlemen, look, like I said, me personally, I'm probably going to tell my kids, we're not going to watch Paw Patrol no more, because I don't want that being fed into their minds. I'd rather show them a show like the Story Keepers on PureFlix, or McGee and Me that's on PureFlix, that shows a biblical message and a life lesson. And this is why the last show where we had Kevin Sorbo, you had him on here, and he was talking about Brave books and his movies. Us as conservatives and Christians need you, the other conservatives and other Christians, support. My brother says this all the time about his books. My brother's books are on Amazon. My brother's books is on Barnes & Noble. We need your support. This is how we get our content out there. But we'd rather go watch other stuff and not support Christian conservative values. And I think that's the problem with the conservative movement, in my humble opinion. Oh, well, we like them other shows. Yeah, but they're pushing a woke agenda. When you have good content creators or good movie producers, say, listen, we need your help. Y'all movies boring. Y'all talking about Jesus. Well, what about the ones with the life lessons? I don't want my kids to learn life lessons. They're children. Let them have Paw Patrol. And look, like I said, I'm not mocking Paw Patrol. Hey, I'll sit down and watch it with kids. But ladies and gentlemen, when they start pushing a false narrative, us as parents need to do something. And us as conservative and Christians, we need to support good family Christian entertainment. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I'm not telling you what to do with your children. I'm telling you what I'm possibly going to do with mine. Because I'm still thinking about it, but they're not going to see Paw Patrol or the Rumble In Crew. Because I don't like what they're standing for at Nickelodeon. With that being said, we're going to be right back with John Stefanski in our third and final segment of the show. So please stay tuned. We'll be right back in a few moments. So stay tuned.
From white-collar criminals to violent crime, Marty Maley has prosecuted it all. A professional criminal prosecutor, not a politician. A statewide leader among professional prosecutors. An instructor for local law enforcement and police officers. Marty Maley cares. He's the leader of an early intervention program to keep children out of crime and jail. An attitude of service, a heart for people. Marty Maley, Attorney General.
Everybody, welcome back to the third and final segment of the Cajun Conservative Show today. As advertised in earlier segments of this show, we have Mr. John Stefanski. He is running for the Attorney General here in Louisiana, but is currently state representative of District 42. John, welcome to the show, man. Been a long time coming.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on. Love South Louisiana, so this is tailor-made, man.
Oh yeah, man. You're from Crowley, correct?
Born and raised in Crowley, and been there my whole life. Moved away to go to school. Went to LSU and then Loyola in New Orleans for law school, and then moved back to work. Always wanted to be a lawyer like my dad, and grew up hunting and fishing and in South Louisiana. And so this place is just, I love South Louisiana. It's so much of the culture and the things we do, our quality of life are just things that are very important to me. And so always wanted to be back here. And as soon as I moved back, I got really involved in volunteering and started coaching basketball. Actually, you see behind me, this side. Yeah, you see behind me, I got, the last team that I coached, man, they just graduated high school this year. So super proud of those kids and started serving on all kinds of different stuff, and then got involved in politics.
Yeah, man, and that thank you for your service in that, for helping the community, and also serving in our state legislation. We met already, so I'm gonna give some insight. We talked on the phone the other day, and we was talking about we're from South Louisiana, talking about some duck gumbo, some crawfish etouffee. We was at the Basin on the Bash at Pat's in Henderson the other day together.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Had some good food. That's such a unique venue, so that's a place I've gone to my whole life, at Pat's. And so for Father's Day, for years, that would be my dad's day off from cooking.
Okay.
So we would always go eat on Father's Day because that was his day that he didn't have to cook. And so Pat's was on the rotation for years, especially when I was in college in Baton Rouge. It was a great meeting point between Crowley and Baton Rouge, so we'd always meet at Pat's and have dinner. And so that's just a special venue, and that, the Bash is such a cool thing. It's very not scripted. People just, candidates hop up there when it's their turn to go speak, and there's nobody introducing you. You just hop up there, you grab the mic and tell the people what you want to say, so it's a good venue.
It was pretty fun, man. I had a real blast, and I was working the event on the sound equipment for our new company, BHS Media. So, but John, let's get down to politics. You've been a state rep. Now you feel like you're ready to take on another endeavor. I believe, I think this is your last term as a state rep, huh?
No, so I could actually run one more time. So
okay.
This is I got elected in a special election in 2017, and so I've been serving for coming up on 7 years now, and so I actually could run one more time. But there's a couple things. Number one, I think if you're going to get into public service, you have to always ask yourself, how can I best serve my community? How can I best serve the state? And so attorney, they hit a point to where I felt the best way I can serve is to run for attorney general in that position. But also, I will say, I think state representatives, the state senators, they're part-time jobs. They're not full-time. The attorney general's office is a full-time job. What I'm doing currently is part-time. So I believe we don't own these positions. I really do believe that. I believe it's something that you're supposed to, you do as good of a job as you can. You try to help your community as much as you can and help the state. And then you let somebody else have a turn. And I really do feel like that. I feel like you don't have to do 12 years. You don't have to do 3 terms. I think if you feel like you've done enough or you feel like you've accomplished the goals that you want to do, let somebody else have a try. And so I both of those are reasons why I decided to run for attorney general. I think that's the place I could best serve. But also I think it's time, let's let one of these other guys serve and see what they can do at the Capitol.
And you're young. I think you're a little older than me, but you're still a young guy, so you still got a good long political career ahead of you, even after this election.
Yeah, look, I hope. I mean, look, here's the reality. I've never looked at politics like a career.
Okay.
I've always wanted to practice law. That's what I wanted to do. And so politics is something that I'll be honest with you, kind of got, the community really are the ones that pushed me to run. And I love it. I do. I love serving. I think that more so than anything else, I get more joy out of public service than anything I've ever done professionally. And so I'm always going to try to help. And look, if it's an elected position, like I said, I feel like I'm right for attorney general. And if the citizens send me there, I'm going to do an excellent job for this state. But if it doesn't work out, I'm going to find another way to serve. Look, I'll tell you, I loved basketball coaching. I just did, and if I have more free time, I'll go back to doing that again, and anything else in between. But I think if you're going to live in a community, my dad used to always tell me that if you're going to live in a community, you owe it to the community and to the state to give back and help improve it. And that's what I've always tried to do.
Yeah, and so let's talk about that a little bit. Cause you're talking about, you said you were rep for 7 years. You go back to after, but let's talk about the election, because the election hasn't happened yet. What you kind of briefly talked about, but why attorney general? Why that position?
Yeah, so first I would say it's incredibly important. It's probably the second most important position in the state, next to the governor. You have an ability to really affect Louisiana citizens' lives and the future of this state in a major way. So I think first and foremost, it's an incredibly important spot for me. Again, I feel like it's the best way I can serve. My background, I have a real diverse legal background. So when I first got back to Crowley and I started practicing law, I quickly found out that you don't get to specialize in a small town. All right, you don't get to pick one area of law and do that. We're a firm that we do everything. So if you have whatever type of legal issue that you have, we try to handle it here. When I first moved back, I was the divorce guy in the custody. Okay. So if you were getting a divorce or we're fighting over kids, like a lot of separated parents do, I did a lot of that work. I worked for the public defender's office when I first got back. I was a juvenile public defender, so our juvenile delinquents, I represented them. We own a title company. We do all sorts of civil litigation. I represent the sheriff, the assessor, and the clerk locally, so I do their legal work. So when I say I've done everything, I literally have done just about every type of law there is to practice in Louisiana. And what I think that does is it lends itself really, really well to the Attorney General's office. I know it's helped me tremendously as a legislator. It's helped me handle all sorts of different bills. When we were doing tort reform a couple of years ago, I was the guy that got asked to handle that bill. When the fentanyl bill came this year, I was the one that got asked to handle the fentanyl bill to try to curb some of this epidemic that's going on. And then when we did tax reform a few years ago, when I first got in the legislature, I was asked to handle a lot of the tax reform bills. So I feel just very well equipped to step into the Attorney General's office, handle any type of legal issue that we may have, represent citizens. A big part of that office as well is protecting your constitutional rights. Oftentimes the federal government oversteps their authority and they try to put basically a Washington agenda on Louisiana, and you have to have somebody who's willing to step up and fight. So that's an important part of the office. But another really important part of the office is crime. There's a criminal division in the Attorney General's office. In my opinion, that office can do a lot more when it comes to crime, and as a partner with DAs and as a partner with law enforcement around the state. So that's something I'm really, really passionate about as well.
And you would have that background as a legislator to move in and say, look, this is what we can do. Because I know there's a lot of people that ride Jeff. They say, well, Jeff was more leaning towards the woke agenda and stuff. But like you said, the Attorney General's job is to stop that from coming into the constitutional rights of our citizens. But it would say, well, crime like in New Orleans is at an all-time high. But unless the DAs would ask Jeff, or if you would be privileged to get into the Attorney General's office, they would have to reach out to you and ask you for your help. You just can't step in there and take over the job.
100%. And it's what's called original jurisdiction. So in essence, the district attorneys written in our Constitution have the ability to prosecute cases in their geographic region. So wherever their districts are, it's their first authority to do that. So you're exactly right. The district attorneys really would have to ask me to come in and help. The difference, though, is in areas like, let's talk about New Orleans. New Orleans is the one that gets talked about the most, man. I mean, we have, I tell the story all the time, but I mean, my parents avoid the city, and a lot of people do that. They're avoiding this entire area because they don't like the culture that's there, or they're fearful to go near it. And to me, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable that we wouldn't be able to travel in our own state. This is our state.
Yeah.
All right, it is. We were born here, we're raised here. I want to be able to go in every geographic area all over the state. And the fact that people are fearful to do that upsets me and tells me that we need to fix it. And so while it's technically correct that you have to have the DA's permission, here's what I would do. I would tell you from day one, I'm going to go sit down with the DA and go, I'm here to help. I'm here to help. I don't care. I'll be honest with you. I don't care what his agendas are. I don't care what his personal philosophies are when it comes to crime. I want to help. I want to be in the office supporting and prosecuting crimes and helping the citizens. Because I think once you establish that partnership, once you go in there and you go, look, I'm here to help. Now, all of a sudden you're figuring out, okay, what's going on in this city? What's going on with the cops? What's going on with the judges? What's going on? Why do they have such a problem here? I think that's the first step that we have to get to in order to fix this problem. And so, I just got to be honest with you. Some people go, well, what if he tells you I don't want your help? I just don't think that's going to happen. And the reason I say that is if you look back at my history in the legislature, it's been one of a coalition builder. I think God gave me a unique ability to find commonality with just about everybody. I think it's kind of the way I was raised. I always played sports growing up, I hunt, fish, I have a very diverse background dealing with all sorts of different people. And I think when I go in there with that approach of we're here to help, because look, I firmly believe this too. New Orleans can't fix this problem on their own. They cannot. All right. It's going to take every state asset in order to be able to get that city under control. And so that includes the AG's office. And I actually think the AG can be a leader on that front. So, I think, as goes the Attorney General, goes the office. Also, if all of those employees of the Attorney General's office are what we would call at will, they're not civil service. So when an AG comes in, he can clear house from day one. He can get rid of everybody if he wanted to. And I don't say that to say that's what I'm going to do. I say that to tell you that as goes the Attorney General, goes that office. What he wants to focus on, what he wants to prioritize is what the office is going to do. And while I'm going to continue to have a robust federal division that protects your constitutional rights, we're going to have a robust civil division that makes sure that we're enforcing the laws and defending Louisiana's laws. I think I'm going to have a huge emphasis on the criminal division, and I'm going to put those resources in these major cities to try to get them under control. And so that's really, that's what I'm passionate about. That's what I'm laser focused on. But you are exactly right. It has to be a partnership. I can't just go take the DA's cases. I have to work with them. I have to sit down and be able to find a point to where we can work together.
Okay, so with that being said, because we just established that we can't go into New Orleans. Using your example, you said if one says, hey, the New Orleans DA says, look, I don't want your help, I'm going to run this city, and you start seeing as Attorney General that they're just breaking every law, or they're letting can you get involved in that way?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, look, every elected official in the state swears an oath to uphold the U.S. Constitution and Louisiana Constitution. And I mean, if there's an elected official who's breaking the law, either willfully or out of ignorance, absolutely, you can step up there and do that. I'm not letting my mind get there yet, because I really think it needs to be one of a partnership. But absolutely, if we're looking and we're seeing that these elected officials are not following the law, I'm going to be there to check them. And I tell you, that's another important part of this office. An important part of this office is checks and balances, and the ability to hold other peers and other elected officials accountable for corruption, for when they break into ethics laws. We created when Bobby Jindal was governor, we created what he called the gold standard of ethics laws. And so we really do. We have some of the strongest ethics regulations and laws in the country, but oftentimes it's only enforced, when it comes to basically like the civil side, which is we have an ethics board that will fine you. Let's say if you do something wrong, the ethics board maybe will cite you or they'll send you a fine. We actually wrote all of those ethics laws into our criminal code. So you can actually prosecute someone for violating these ethics laws. And that's something that I think the Attorney General's office is in a perfect position to be able to do. And I really do mean what I say. I think the public, and look, this is Louisiana, all right? You grew up here, I grew up here, this is Louisiana. The stigma about Louisiana is that we're corrupt, that politicians are just out for themselves, that they're cutting corners, they're doing deals that are not legal. And I'll be honest, the AG is really the only person who has the ability and really has the independence to be able to do that. And I think that's incredibly important. And as AG, I'll tell you, that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna hold anybody else in this state. If you're stepping out of line, I'm gonna hold you accountable, because I'm not the governor's attorney. I'm not the legislator's attorney. I'm not the Secretary of State and anybody else in between. I'm the citizens of Louisiana's attorney. And if somebody is breaking your trust that you elected, somebody needs to hold them accountable. And I think I'm in a perfect spot to do that.
Going with that, because you Marty, Miss Liz, whoever gets into that position, y'all got some big shoes to fill with Jeff. Jeff did leave a lot of big shoes there, but Jeff did a great job. How do you continue on what Jeff has done? And we're hoping for a Republican governor. Jeff is in the lead, so if Jeff would get that position, do you see yourself calling him and saying, "Hey, look, I know, could you say you're not the governor's lawyer, but he would be the previous attorney general." Would you reach out to him and say, "Look, what do you think we should do, or do you have any special things you want us to look into?"
Yeah, absolutely. Look, and I will tell you, Jeff supported me in my last two elections. He's I consider Jeff a friend. He and I, if Jeff's lucky enough to be the next governor, he and I will have a great working relationship. And obviously, anybody who takes over a position, that if you're intelligent, you'd be smart to go look at the guys who held that office before you and go, "Hey, look, any advice you can give me, any of that stuff." So absolutely, Jeff would probably be one of my first calls to talk about a transition and how would he approach things. I think the legacy Jeff left is strong. Jeff created the first federal division that we've had in Louisiana. So that division did not exist in Louisiana before Jeff got there. And he's put a tremendous amount of emphasis on federal cases. And I think that's something that absolutely we could keep up, and we're going to keep up. I mean, look, there's some things that are so core to our identity, like the oil and gas industry. Okay, oil and gas is synonymous with an area that I grew up in, all right? The Crowley area, the Lafayette, Greater Acadiana area, the St. Martin area. That is oil and gas central, okay? And when the federal government basically goes to war with oil and gas, we have to fight it. We don't have a choice. That's the way that not only is it a way we make a living here, okay? It's so tied into our cultural identity. We owe it to the citizens to do that. So I think that's a great legacy that Jeff has left. But Jeff also left another great legacy, which is, if you watch what he has done over these past 8 years, he has provided a check on the executive department. So he's provided a check on the governor. And obviously, look, politically, they maybe couldn't
very
have been
different,
very different. And we understand that. But the legacy is still there of those two offices are separate. And if one is stepping out of line, the other has to be there to be able to check it. And I think regardless of party, that's a very important thing. Now, my hope is that, not my hope, I know, look, with a Republican governor and a Republican AG, that we're going to be working in tandem, more times than not. But at the same time, I think that's something that Jeff has really showed the citizens of this state, how important it is for those two offices to be independent.
Yeah, and definitely with just not the government, the governor's administration, also with the national administration, with the Biden administration right now, and that he had a lot to do with that because he played a big role in, gun rights in a lot of cases, more than we can remember right now.
Yeah.
But John, one last thing I want to bring out, because we mentioned your two opponents, Marty Mealy and Liz Moreau. Met all of y'all guys. You're all some great people. What I like about it, and I emphasize on this show a lot, to my knowledge, none of y'all have taken a shot at one another. It's basically like throwing punches. Y'all running on your resumes, and look, y'all all have great resumes, and I want to compliment you on that. And I told Marty already. Marty was on this show. I mentioned it to Liz at an RPEG meeting. Y'all guys, I like good, clean campaigning like that. Y'all not, well, this one did this one, that one did that one, and I think that's what Louisiana needs more of, because y'all do have some Democrats running. Take shots at them. Hey, that's I'm happy with that. But when you go after somebody in your own party, that is dangerous. And even on this show, I talk about Republicans. But at the same time, like I have your number. I can call you. Hey, what's going on with this, John? And we could discuss this, and I can give my opinion as a commentator. But it don't look good when politicians attack each other, especially in the same party.
Yeah, and what's upsetting is I think most of the times, look at all the races I've been involved in, it all starts off to where everybody's very friendly. I'll be honest, I have to spend more time with these people, than you can imagine. I mean, we're going to the same events, we're driving all over the same place. They really become friends. I got to be honest. I like to say that I don't consider anybody an enemy, but I mean, you really, when you start going to these same events with the same people, you develop a relationship. Look, everybody involved in this race, but particularly the Republicans, are well qualified. They're good people. I think they're all running for the right reasons. I think we all are, and so I don't have any, you won't hear anything bad out of my mouth. Look, obviously, if we got to a point where I have to defend myself, I'm always going to defend myself. Like my dad used to tell me, don't start the fight, but don't run from it. Right. You know what I mean? And so I've always had that attitude. But you're exactly right. When Republicans eat their own and they go after each other, it hurts our entire party. It hurts the state of Louisiana. And so my hope is that in this race, at least, we can have a good, clean race and it really is, politics, as I've learned over the years, it's a popularity contest, and you can frame it however way you want. But at the end of the day, the person that gains the most popularity is the one that's going to get the votes. And so that's really what it is. Let's let the citizens make a decision. Look, I feel well qualified to handle the job. I'm just passionate about this state. I'm a small town Louisiana kid who always dreamed of being a lawyer, and I just want our state to be better. I really do. And we have gotten so much bad government. All right. And I say that intently, out of our politicians over the history of Louisiana, that as citizens, we just deserve better. We do. We deserve better. And look, I think I'm well equipped for the office, and I hope to be that person. But regardless, I say this all the time to people, demand more out of your elected officials. Why do we let these elected officials get away with never improving and changing things? I mean, we're not a state, okay, that can sit back and go, things are running good, let's just stay the same. We can't, and I would tell you, even if, look, with the position I'm going for, even if you're sitting there and you go, I love the job that Jeff Landry did, all right, and I believe he did a great job. Look at our state and look at the metrics and look at all the factors that we rank each other when we compare to other states. We're not winning in those categories. All right. We have to change. We have to do things differently as a state if we ever want to improve. And so that more so than anything, when I talk to citizens, I tell them that I go, look for the candidates who are willing to shake things up, because look, that is what we need as a state if we're ever going to be able to compete. There's no reason. And look, I'll leave you with this because I'm on a bit of a rant, but I will leave you with this. There's no reason Louisiana can't have an Austin or a Nashville or one of these areas, or a Dallas, one of these areas that are just blowing up, and attracting people from all over the country. There's no reason Louisiana can't have that, other than we have been unable or unwilling to transform ourselves into something that's going to be attractive to drive those people. But I mean, look, we think about all the politicians. They always talk about our natural resources and this and that and all these great things that we have. And all of those things are true. But why haven't we been able to capitalize on them? Why?
Right.
That's the question that citizens have to ask these candidates. Why? What are we doing that we can't capitalize? For me, when I look at this state and as the role of Attorney General, I see crime. That's what I see. I see we have an image problem as of Louisiana right now. Other people believe we have the 3 highest cities when it comes to crime, all right, with Shreveport, Baton Rouge, and New Orleans. We have an image problem, and if we're not careful, we're going to be the stigma of the whole country. And we have to get this crime under control. That's what I think I can really help with, and that's what I intend to do when I'm in there.
Sounds good. So, John, before we run out of time, I would like for you to tell people where they can find information about you, and if they want to help with the campaign, if they like your policies and stuff like that, where they can reach and volunteer or donate if possible.
Absolutely. So, I mean, look, the easiest way is votestefanski.com, VOTESTEFANSKI.com. You go there, the website has all of my policy positions, has some, we upload our endorsements, our videos, and everything else in between. I've picked up a tremendous amount of district attorney and sheriff endorsements because crime is such a passion to me. They believe in those messaging, as you would imagine. And so anyone can go there, go to votestefanski.com, and then look, send me an email, john@votestefanski.com or info@votestefanski.com. I'm happy to answer any questions. And look, at the end of the day, I'm here to serve. I have a servant's heart, and I just want this state to improve.
And whatever happens, now the audience is not invited in this. This is between me and you. I want that duck gumbo. If it's in the Attorney General's office or if it's at your house, I'm going,
This is the first teal season I have missed. All right? Probably, I am not joking, since I was born. My first job I ever got paid for, I was a duck guide. All right. That's the first job that I ever earned $1 off of. And so hunting is something that's I'm incredibly passionate about. I'm skipping teal season because I'm in this election is that important to me, but we'll get a hunt on the books, and then we'll cook some ducks after that. We'll make a gumbo. It'll be great.
I can't wait, man. My phone's right there. You got my number, so we're gonna. John, thank you for coming on, man. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you, and pray best wishes for this election, and we'll hope to see each other pretty soon.
Sounds good, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Thank you, John. That was John Stefanski running for Attorney General here in the state of Louisiana. That is one of the statewide elections that we'll be covering on October 14th, starting from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. here at the Cajun Conservative Studios. We'll be looking at that race. We'll be looking at every other race going on in Louisiana that night. But until then, man, hey, keep your ears out there. Keep getting knowledge of these candidates. This is why we have them on, to educate you, the citizen of Louisiana, and also across the country. So with that being said, that's going to end this episode of the Cajun Conservative Show today. We want to thank you as always for listening. Please like, please share, and go ahead and go to BGS Media Store, pick up a shirt or a hat, something like that, to help us out here. Until next time, be blessed, be encouraged. Remember, Jesus Christ is King. He's coming back. He's coming back soon, so don't be faint of heart, because Jesus has overcome the world. If you want to know Jesus, Lord and Savior, reach out to us here at the show, and we'll tell you how to make Jesus your Savior and heaven your home. Until the next podcast, you be blessed. Bye-bye.
And he is the open door.